Subpart C of Conductor Certification Final Ruling, Part 242, CFR 49, Subpart C Administrative Certification Program. 242-201 Time Limitations of Certification. After patent data, the 242-105 and the railroad shall not certify or recertify as a conductor in any type of the services railroad making a determination concerning eligibility to 242-101 and 241.13, 115, 403. The eligibility data relied on the furnished more than 366 days before the date of the railroad certification decision determination concerning the visual hearing acuity of the medical examination being relied on the conductor more than 450 days before the date of the railroad certification decision determination considering demonstrated knowledge and the knowledge examination being relied on was conducted more than 360 days before the date of the railroad certification decision. 4. The determination concerning the demonstrated knowledge and knowledge examination being relied on the conductor was more than 24 months before the date of the railroad certification decision. Railroad administration of a knowledge testing program pursuant to 242-121 or internal intervals due to the exceed 24 months. B. The time limitation of the paragraph of this section does not apply to the railroad as making certification decision reliances and determinations made by another railroad in accordance with paragraph C3 in the section 242-125 or 242-127. C. No railroad shall 1. Permit or require a person designated in 240 under 242-105 A and B to perform a service a certified conductor for more than 36 months beginning prior to the patent date of the compliance with the mandatory procedure for the testing evaluation set forth the applicable provision of 242-105 DE unless the person has been determined to be eligible in accordance with the procedures but to comply with subpart B of this part. Certify a person as a conductor for intervals of more than 36 months. Rely on certification issued on another railroad that is more than 36 months old, except as provided in statute 242-105 concerning the initial implementation of the program shall issue to each of the person designated certificate conductor or certificate complying with the 242-207 no later than 30 days after the date of the decision to certify and recertify the person. 242-203 retaining information supporting determination after patent data in the 242-105 or D&E or the railroad that issues denies revoke certification making determinations required on 242-109 shall maintain a record of each of the certified conductor application certification containing information railroad relied on making its determination. A railroad shall retain the following information: 1. Relevant data to the railroad records concerning the prior safety conduct. 2. Relevant data furnished on another railroad. Relevant data furnished by government agency concerning the motor vehicle driving record. 4. Relevant furnished in the person seeking certification concerning his or her eligibility. 5. The relevant test data concerning hearing and visual acuity. 6. Applicable relevant concerning the professional opinion of the railroad medical examiner of adequacy of the personal hearing and vision acuity. 7. The relevant data from the railroad records concerning the person's success of the failure to passage test and under this 242-121. 8. A sample copy of the written knowledge test and the test administrated with the relevant. 9. The relevant data of the railroad records concerning the person's success, failure, unannounced operation, compliance with the railroad performed to monitor the conductor's performance in accordance with the 242-123. If the railroad relying on the successful completion of an approved training program conducting in another entity relying on the railroad shall maintain a record of each of the conductors containing the relevant data furnished by the training entity concerning the person demonstrated the knowledge relied on by the railroad making its determinations. If the railroad relying on certification decision initially made by another railroad relying on the railroad shall maintain in the record for each of the certified conductors containing relevant data furnished in another railroad with the record relied on making its determination. C.E. All records required under this section shall be retained for a period of 6 years from the date of the certification, recertification, denial, revocation decision shall be made available to the FRA representative upon request during the normal business hours. If it shall be unlawful for any railroad knowingly or any individual willfully make, cause to be made, or participate in making a false entry of the record required in this section, otherwise falsely by such records through material misstatements and omissions and mutilation. G. Nothing in section procedure of the railroad maintaining the information required to retain under the section electrical format provided. 1. The railroad maintains information technology security program adequate to ensure the integrity of the electronic data storage through the prevention of the unauthorized access to project logic and individual records. 2. The program data storage system must be protected by a security system utilizing employing identification number, password, or a comparable method to establish appropriate levels of program access meeting all of the following standards. No two individuals have the same electronic identity. A record cannot be deleted or an altered individual after the record is certified and employed with the who created the record. Any employment into a record is either electronically stored apart from the record that is amended, or electronically attached to the record information without changing the original record. 4. Each amendment of the record uniquely identifies the person making the amendment. 5. The system employed by the railroad of the data storage permits for responsibility access, retrievable of the information usable format when requested the furnished data for the FRA representatives. 6. Information retrieved from the system can easily be reproduced in printed format, which can be readily provided by the FRA representatives in a timely manner, authenticated by a designated representative of the local railroad. Is true, accurate copy of the railroad records if requested to do so for the FRA representatives. 242-205, Identification, Certification, and Persons and Record Keeping. After March 1st, 2012, a record shall maintain a list of identifying each of the persons designated as a certified conductor. A list shall indicate the type of the service and railroad, determining each of the person authorized to perform and date of the railroad certification decision. If the railroad employs a conductor working for the joint operation territory, the list shall include determined by the railroad to be certified as a conductor possessing necessary territorial qualification for applicable territories according to 22-442-301. This list requires A, B of the section being 1, being updated at least annually, B, able to divisional regional headquarters of the railroad, 3, be available for the inspection copying the FRA during the business hours, D, if the state of the unlawful the railroad knowingly of an individual or willfully, 1, makes the cause to be made participate in making a false entry in the list of the required section, 2, otherwise falsifies such list of the material misstatement, omission, mutilation. E. Nothing in this section precludes the railroad for the maintaining of this list required of the section electronic format, provided that the railroad maintains information technology security program adequate to secure integrity of the electronic data storage, including the preventing of unauthorized access to the program logic and list. 2. The program data and storage must be protected by a security system utilizing the employee identification number, password, and comparable method to establish appropriate levels of program meeting all of the following standards. 1. No two individuals have same electronic identity. 2. No two individuals have the same electronic identity. 2. Any entry to the list cannot be deleted, altered, or individual after entry is certified by an employee who is created in the entry. 3. Any amendment of this list is either 1. Electronically stored apart from the entry of this list that amends electronically attached to entry to the list information without changing the original entry. 4. Each amendment to the list is uniquely identified with the person making the amendment. 5. The system employed by the railroad data storage permits the reasonable access for retrievable information using from the requested furnished data by the FRA representatives. And 6. Information retrieved from the system can be easily produced and printed from which can be provided by the FRA representative, timely manner, authenticated designation representative of railroad, true, accurate copy of the railroad records if requested to do so by FRA representatives. 242-207 certificate components. At a minimum, each certificate issued in compliance with this part shall: 1. Identify the railroad parent of the company that is using it. 2. Indicate the railroad acting in conformity with the part of determining the person who and it is being issued to determine to be eligible to perform a conductor error as a passenger conductor. 3. Identify the person to whom it and being is issued, including the person's name, employee identification number, the year of the birth of and either the physical description or photograph of the person, identifying any condition limitations, including type of the service condition, light, vision of hearing, acute need deficiencies, and restrict the person's operational authority. 5. Shows the effective date of the certification hold. 6. Be signed individual designated in accordance with the paragraph B of the section. 7. Be sufficient small size to permit the being carried over the ordinary pocket wallet. Each railroad shall designate and written any of the person that authorized the signed certificate design described in section. The designation shall identify such by the name and job title. Nothing in paragraph A of this section shall prohibit any railroad from including additional information on the certificate, supplementing the certificate through the other documents. D. It shall be unlawful for the railroad knowingly to have, or an individual willfully make a cause to be made, participate in making false entry of the certificate, otherwise false certificate with a material misstatement, omission, mutilation. 242-209, maintenance of certification. Each conductor who has received a certificate required under this part shall 1. Have the certificate in his or her possession while on duty as a conductor. 2. Display certificate upon the request to do so from a representative of the Federal Railroad Administration, a state inspector authorized under the part of 212 of this chapter, and an officer issuing the railroad, an officer of another railroad when serving the conductor in the joint operation territory. B. Any conductor who is notified and called to serve as a conductor, such as a service would you cause the conductor to exceed limitation set forth according to subpart B of this part, this should immediately notify the railroad he or she is not authorized to perform anticipated service and shall be unlawful to the railroad to require each such service. Nothing in this section shall deem and to alter certified conductors' duty to comply with the provision of this chapter concerning railroad safety. 242-211, replacement of certificates. A railroad shall have the system of the prompt replacement, lost or stolen, mutilated certificates are at no cost to the conductor. The system should be responsible, accessible to the certificate conductor in need of the replacement certificate, temporarily replacement certificate. At a minimum, temporary replacement certificate must identify the person who is being issued, including the person's name and identification number, year of birth, identification of the date of the issuance authorized by the designated supervisor. Temporary replacement certificate may be developed electronically and are valid of the period no greater than 30 days. 242-13, multiple certifications. A person holding certification of multiple types of conductor services, a person may hold the conductor locomotive engineering certificate. A railroad issues a multiple certificate to the person shall not, to the extent of possible, coordinate expiration date of the certificate. The specs provided by the paragraph E of this section, locomotive engineer, including the remote control operator who is operating the locomotive without a signed certified conductor, must either be 1. Certified by a locomotive engineer under the part 240 of this chapter as a conductor under this part. 2. Accompanied by the person certified as a conductor under this part who be attached to the crewman in a manner similar to the independent assignment passenger railroad operation. If the conductor is removed from the training medical policy of such emergency, the train departs the initial terminal. Train must be proceeded first location where the conductor can be replaced without incurring under delay without locomotive engineering being certified conductor. However, an assistant conductor or brakeman must be on the train, or locomotive engineering must be informed that there is no certified conductor on the train prior to the movement. 1. During the duration of the certificate intervals, the person holds the current conductor locomotive engineering certificate from one more shall immediately notify one other certifying railroads if he or she is denied conductor locomotive engineering recertification of 242-401 and 240-219 of the chapter. His or her conductor locomotive engineering certification part of the under 242-407 and 240-307 of this chapter on another railroad. G. Any person certified to perform multiple types of the conductor services who had any of those certifications revoked at 242-407 may not perform any type of the conductor services during the period of revocation. H. The person holds the current conductor locomotive engineering certificate who had his or her certification revoked under 242-407 or violation of 242-403 E1 through E5 or E12 may not work at a locomotive engineering during the period of the revocation. However, the person who holds the current conductor locomotive engineering certificate who has had his or her conductor certification revoked under 242-407, the violation of the 242-403 E6 and through E11 the work locomotive engineering during the period of revocation. For the purpose of determining the period of the person may not work as a certified locomotive engineer, the revocation of his or her certification, only the violation of 242-403 E1 through 5 or E12 will be counted. The person who holds a current conductor locomotive engineering certificate who had his or her conductor certification revoked 3 times in the last 36 months, or 2 violations of 242-403 or 1 violation of 242-403 E1 would have his conductor certification revoked for 1 year, but would not permit to the work as the locomotive engineering for 1 month. The period of the revocation of 1 violation of 242-403. 1. The person who holds a current conductor locomotive engineering certificate who had his or her locomotive engineering certificate revoked from under statute 242-307, the chapter may not work with the conductor during the period of the revocation. J. A person who had his or her locomotive engineering certificate revoked under 24307, the chapter may not obtain its conductor certificate under pursuant of the period under the part during the revocation. K. Person who had his or her conduct certification under the statute 242-407, the violation 242-403 E1 through E5 and E12 may be obtained in locomotive engineering pursuant to the Part 240 of the chapter during the period of the revocation. L. A railroad that denies a personal conductor certification, recertification, and under the statute 242-401 shall not solely base on the deny, or revoke the personal and locomotive engineering certificate or recertification. A railroad that denies a personal locomotive engineering certification or recertification under statute 242-19 of the chapter will not solely on the basis of the deny, or revoke the person's conductor certification or recertification. And in lieu of issuing multiple certificates, a railroad may issue one certificate to a person who is certified and performed multiple types conduct service and certified as a conductor, locomotive engineer. The certificate must comply with the 242-23 chapters and 242-207. A person who hold the current conductor locomotive engineering certificate involved with the revocable under 242-407, 243-07 of this chapter, and many of the other one certificates revoked of the event determination by the railroads to which the certificates revoke the revocable event must be based on the work period of the person performing at the time it has occurred. 242-215 Railroad Oversight. No later than 31st of the March, either the year being in the calendar year of 2013 in Class 1, including National Railroad Passenger Corporation and railroad providing commuter service, and each Class 2 railroad shall conduct a formal annual review analysis concerning administrative for the program, responding to detected instances of poor safety conduct certified conductors during the prior calendar year. B. Each review and analysis shall involve 1. The number, the nature, instances of detected poor safety conductor and natural, including nature of remedial action taken in response thereto. The name or the number, the nature of the FR reported to the train accident and attributed poor safety performance of the conductor. 3. The number, the type of operational monitoring testing failures recorded by the railroad officer who meets the requirements of statute 217-9B1 of this chapter. 4. If the railroad conducts a joint operation with with another railroad, the number of the conductors employed by the other railroads which are involved in the events described in the paragraphs and determined to be certified to have the proposed necessary territorial qualifications for joint operation, proposing, controlling of the railroad. C. Based on the review analysis, each railroad shall determine the action and to have improve the safety railroad operations to reduce elimination for incidents of the nature. If requested writing the FRA, the railroad shall provide the report of the finding conclusions reached during such an annual review and analysis effort, either for the reporting purposes, information nature of the detected poor safety conduct should be capable of segregation for student evaluation purposes of the following categories. 1. Incident involving noncompliance with the Part 218 of this chapter. Incidents moving the compliance with 219 of this chapter. Incidents involving noncompliance with the procedure of the safe use of the train engineering brakes and procedures was required in compliance 1 of the 1A and Class 2, Class 3 transfer of the train brake testing provisions of Part 232 of the chapter, which chapter required the compliance with Class 1, Class 1. A and Class 2 running brake testing provisions of Part 238. Incidents involving noncompliance with the railroad operating rules involving operating locomotive to the train operate and speed exceeding the maximum authorized limit. 5. Incidents involving noncompliance with the railroad operating rules resulting in an operational locomotive in the train passing a signal excluding hand or radio signals indication or a switch that requires a complete stop before passing it. Incidents involving noncompliance with the provision restricted of the operational equivalent therefore must be reported the provision part of the 225 of this chapter. Incidents involving occupying main track of the segment of the main track without proper authority and permission. 8. Incidents involving failure to comply with the prohibitions against the tampering with locomotive mounted safety devices, knowing and operating permitting to operate with the train with unauthorized disabled safety devices and control locomotive. For reporting purposes, an incident poor safety conducting involves the person who holds both conductor certification pursuant to the locomotive part and locomotive engineering certification pursuant to this Part 240. The chapter needs only to be reported once, either under Title 49 CFR 240-309. The chapter is the section determined as the where to the report instances poor safety conduct shall be based on the work performing person who is performing at the time of the occurred. G. The reporting person of each category detected poor safety conduct identified by paragraph B of the section shall be capable of being anointed to reflect the following. 1. The nature of the remedial action taken by the number of events subdivided as reflecting the following actions as 1. Imposition, informal discipline, imposition, formal discipline, provisions of information training, provisions of formal training, and 2. The nature of remedial action for the formal discipline of the number of events of the subdivided is reflect which of the following punishments will be imposed by the railroad. 1. The person withhold from service. 2. The person with dismissed from employment. 3. The person issued demerits if more than one of the form of punishment was imposed on only the punishment deemed that must serve most severe shall be shown. 8. For reporting purposes, each category detecting poor safety conduct identified in paragraph B of the section resulted in the imposition of formal informal discipline shall be anointed to reflect the following number of instances of the railroad internal appeals of the process. Reduce the punishment imposed at the conclusion of the hearing. The number of the instances of the punishment imposed on the railroad was reduced to the following entities: the National Railroad Adjustment Board, the Public Law Board, the Special Adjustment Board of Adjustments, or other body of the resolution in disputes constituted with the Provisional Railway Labor Act. For the reporting purposes, each category of the detected poor safety conduct identified with B of the section shall be capable of being anointed to reflect its following: the total number of incidents in the category, the number of incidents with the total reflecting incident and requiring the FRA accident incident report under the paragraph 225 of the chapter. 3. The number of the incidents with the total which were detected as a result of scheduled operation and monitoring and of effort. Subpart D, territorial qualification and joint operation. 242.301, requirements of territorial qualifications, except for provided by the C and D of the section railroad, including the railroad employees, conductors working in the joint operation territories, shall not permit required person to serve as conductor unless the railroad determines that the person is as certified and conductor possesses the necessary territorial qualifications applicable to the territory pursuant to statute 242.19. 119. Each person who is called to serve as conductor shall meet the territorial qualification requirements of the segment of the track upon which he or she serves as a conductor. 2. Immediately notify the railroad upon which he or she is employed and she does not meet the record territorial qualifications except as provided with the paragraph E of the section. The conductor territorial qualification main track physical characteristics required in paragraph 8 of the section. He or she has been assisted by the person who meets the territorial qualification requirements of the main track physical characteristics. 1. That for the conductor who has never been qualified with the main track physical characteristics of the territory over which he or she serves the conductor, assistant shall person is certified as a conductor meets the territorial qualification requirements for the main track physical characteristics is not assigned to the crew member. 2. For example, the conductor who was previously qualified as the main track physical characteristics of the territory which he or she serves as a conductor, but whose qualification has expired, the assistant may be any person, including assigned crew member of the locomotive engineering, as long as the assistant would not conflict with the crew members' other safety-sensitive devices who meet territorial qualification requirements of the main track physical characteristics. If the conductor lacks territorial qualification other than the main track physical characteristics required by the paragraph 8 of the section, the practicable that he or she be assisted in the person and the certified conductor meet the territorial requirements for the other main track physical characteristics. Where not practicable, the conductor shall provide an appropriate up-to-date job aid. Assistant not required of the movement in the section of the main track at the average rate of less than 1 or over 3 continuous miles. The maximum distance of the locomotive train will operate does not exceed 1 mile. The maximum authorized speed for any operation of the track does not exceed 20 miles per hour. 3. Operation of the conduct under the rule require every locomotive to proceed a speed of the permit stopping in the 1/2 range of the vision of locomotive engineering. Subpart E, denial and revocation of certification.